Well, and here's the thing. Everybody's saying, okay, have negotiations broken down or relationships broken down between Tony and MJF, and they're not speaking and blah, blah, blah. And somebody even put out before MJF no-showed the fan fest that they had the day before, right? He was supposed to be there. They'd sold photo ops and everything. He was not there. And apparently that was of his own volition. However,
the word going around was that he no-showed and also that he wasn't picking up his phone.
Oh my God. Jeez, boy, you know, a lot of these people should have lived back in the day when you didn't know whether a motherfucker was within 200 miles of your building until he walked in and there was no way to find out. Not picking up his phone. But then the story went out that after that, he had booked a flight for himself out of Las Vegas and was going to no-show the match. And that turned out to be a bunch of fucking horse shit. But it got people speculating. So then people are like, okay, have all these relations between Tony and MJF really broken down, or are Tony and MJF working us all?
You heard a lot of that. You heard a lot of the Brian Pillman comparisons this weekend.
But here's the problem, I think. I'm not saying that none of this is a work. I'm just saying I can't imagine that Tony Khan would be in on it. Because the one thing, if you were trying to successfully fool anybody, the public, whoever, the fans, the fucking employees, whoever you're trying to fool, you wouldn't let Tony Khan in on it. Because he's neither a good enough actor, nor is he, he was vaccinated with a phonograph needle. He's a blabbermouth. And also...
Phonograph needle.
Well, I mean, you know, and to be quite honest, if I was MJF, I would realize that Tony Khan is probably the easiest one to sucker into this thing. And once he believes it, everybody else will believe it too. So there could be some of this that's a work and it could not be. But I don't believe that Tony is anything more than an interested bystander in whatever is happening here. And I'll say one thing. Again, I don't want to spoil anybody's business, or I don't want to blame anybody without reason. But from my experience with MJF in MLW, he's professional. He's one of the smartest guys in the locker room, maybe not smart to every nuance of wrestling for the last 80 years. I'm talking about just intelligence. He's smart. He's professional, and he's not going to fuck around and be a goddamn diva. So if he is legitimately incensed or miffed at Tony Khan, I would say he's got a pretty good reason for it. And in that case, I'm on his side. And he's proven to me that he's not only a talent, but he's intelligent. He gets what wrestling's supposed to be. Tony has proved none of those things. So whether work or shoot, I'm on MJF's side.
Tony Khan was asked for a comment during the press scrum after AEW Double or Nothing, and he did not have comment. He said he's not going to comment on that. So whatever's happening, unless he's a master worker, it appears that Tony Khan's not fully happy with and fully aware of exactly what's going on. But
he might not be a master worker, but he might be a master baiter.
I said when we talked about this previously on the show, I hope this doesn't play out for the next 2 years, 18 months, whatever it is. And hopefully, whatever all of this is, it plays out within the next couple of months and it results in either he is extended with more money or he is somehow a free agent, and good luck, let's see what happens. But there has to be some sort of resolution, especially now. I mean, you know, the thoughts I had this whole weekend were Brian Pillman, were Shawn Michaels in 93 when he, you know, started having problems and disappeared. Not that there's any drug issues or anything here, but, you know, sometimes these guys, when they're really, really good and on top of their game and they disappear for a while, it's an interesting move. Piper. I mean, Piper was one of those guys that stand up for himself and disappear for a little bit. How do you think this is going to play out?
I mean, again, I don't know because I haven't been in the middle of the conversations with these two. But obviously, MJF is somewhat offended because he's one of the major draws on the program, despite the fact that apparently he's still working on whatever contract he signed to begin with, which is paltry compared to the soaking that Tony has taken from either the names that he signed or the people that the fucking EVPs that he fell for told him were names. And, and now the salary structure is way out of whack between the people actually drawing the money or the ratings, the interest, and people that are goddamn candidates for the side of a milk carton because nobody gives a shit where they are, right? So that's a problem, but if you're MJF and you bring that up, and then Tony says, all right, I'll renegotiate with you, but you got to sign for a longer period of time, and you don't want to do that because you might be worth even more money in 2 or 3 years. Then there's got to be a happy middle somewhere, but Tony has worked himself into a position. I'm not talking working in a working way. I'm talking about he's worked at this. He's worked hard at putting himself in a corner where he's paying guys ridiculous amounts of money, and a couple are worth it, and several more are laughably not. And now he's got to figure out how to keep all of them from wanting more money when he gives a guy that's a real talent and a boon to his company more money.
Part of the problem, I think, too, based on all the reports we're seeing publicly, Tony should have ripped up MJF's contract 6 months into the company and done this.
Yeah.
Now's not the time because now we're so close to the end of the contract, 18 months, and we're, every day it's getting closer. And I guess that's my question for you. Do you see any way that MJF gets a raise without an extension?
Well, right now, maybe not. But if there is a giant clamor for him and or numbers and or things start to go down, then there might be. But at the same point, every once in a while, a super duper surprise will move their number up, but never above the cap until they spring the surprise, and then everybody's either let down or it's all downhill from there and they go back to their same numbers. By the same token, will anything make their numbers go appreciably down? Or are these people just going to watch this shit if their house is on fire and the baby's drowning in the bathtub? It's hard to say about this company. There's never been a more devoted audience, but it's also a limited one. And people who liked wrestling in the past, they try to watch this thing, but it's so fucking hokey, goofy, funny, fake, sissy, whatever. And I mean, are they making any new fans for this type of, whatever they call this type of fucking wrestling? Or is it pretty much just the people that are there? So I don't know if losing anybody or gaining anybody can have a massive effect on the business at this point.
It could have a massive effect on the show, and that's kind of what I'm thinking about.
Oh, yeah, but the show's sucked before many times.
Right, but MJF usually has the best segment on the show, and it's usually the segment with either the highest ratings or the second to highest ratings on almost every single show. They're going into this new relationship with their partners, the new people at Turner. I've heard previously that old management loved MJF. He was like one of the wrestlers that they loved. I heard that from someone in the building, not someone from the wrestling side. So that's one of the things I'm thinking about too. When NBC renewed Saturday night's main event and Bobby Heenan was commentating because Jesse was gone. Vince wouldn't let him do Predator, and Jesse said, "I'm doing it," and left. Vince wasn't going to bring him back. NBC demanded him. Yeah. We got this show because we expect Jesse Ventura as one of the commentators. He's one of the stars of Saturday night's main event. Again, that's the way the NBC people saw it. We don't know the way the new management over there, the way they see someone like MJF.
Well, TBS in 1989, without Flair, the deal wouldn't have been done. And Flair didn't know this until after the fact, but the deal wouldn't have been done because Flair was the only wrestler that Ted Turner actually still recognized and remembered as being a star. so that things like that happen.
I have a feeling if you had introduced him to Missy Hyatt, that deal would have been done.
Well, but it would have taken longer, and he would have, but where's Ann? Ann Gunkel, where's Ann?
I don't know. I'm not even saying he had to do anything. I just say introduce him. The deal's done. But I think this whole thing, hopefully it plays out soon, just because there's only so much we could take for so long. We kind of want the drama to go away, and we could focus on the on-screen drama, wouldn't you say?
Well, actually, no, because the on-screen drama is the shits compared to the backstage drama. I'd like to focus on that exclusively. We wouldn't have to watch the television program.
Well, we did watch the television program, of course, it being Double or Nothing, but around this point in the show, I was starting to get hungry. I was thinking, I'd really like to have a hot dog and a hamburger and something else, anything else but this show. Were you getting hungry?
You went right to the hot dogs and hamburgers because it's Memorial Day weekend, but you should have gone, Brian, straight to your favorite, the bacon-wrapped fillets. You used to try to eat filet mignon at least 3 days a week until you got busy with children and an empire. But folks, it's Memorial Day weekend. Father's Day is right around the corner. What does that have in common? Everybody wants to grill out. Everybody wants steaks, meat, cattle byproduct. That's what I want. As a matter of fact, today, as soon as we finish recording this program, I am having, and so is Stacy, I'm going to give her some too, bacon-wrapped fillets from Omaha Steaks with some shrimp cocktail and a big old baked potato and some of the Omaha Steaks delicious caramel apple tartlets for dessert. And that's why I'd like for this program to be over with so I could get started grilling. But folks, if you want to make sure that your dad can grill for Mother's Day, actually whether the dad in your life is a dad, a brother, an uncle, a son, or whatever, Dads Want Steaks. And right now, Omaha Steaks has the Dads Want Steaks package for just $99. This limited time package includes 16 mouth-watering entrees. And I'll tell you what, Brian, I've had problem with mouth-watering in the past. And sometimes you actually, if you lean into the car to talk to somebody, sometimes you'll just drool on them. It's amazing how that happens. But I think about these steaks and these gourmet jumbo franks and the chilled boneless chicken breasts. And right now, folks, if you go to omahasteaks.com and type JCE in the search bar and order the Dads Want Steaks package for Father's Day, you're going to get free 8 Omaha Steaks burgers. And they're bigger than ever. They used to be a quarter pound. Now they're 6 ounces each, which is significantly more than a quarter pound. It's actually more than a third of a pound. It's less than a half a pound. It's somewhere in the middle, but they're fucking big. Bigger than ever. And plump. And these jumbo franks, they're plump too. And I always like fat franks instead of teeny weenies. Well, that's the problem in the world. There's too many teeny weenies and not enough fat franks.
Well, despite whatever innuendos you're making there, I will say, their hot dogs, their frankfurters, are fantastic. We had them the other day. I couldn't believe how good they were. We're actually ordering more.
You're actually ordering more? Well, I can believe that.
Right away.
Do that all the time.
Right away we're ordering more.
Right away.
I didn't even have the filet mignon yet.
All right, Kobayashi, you entered into the hot dog eating contest. Anyway, as we mentioned, go to omahasteaks.com, type JCE into the search bar, the Dads Want Steaks package. You will get 16 entrees and 4 desserts, plus 8 free Omaha Steaks burgers that I've mentioned are sizably larger than a quarter of a pound. That's omahasteaks.com, keyword JCE for the Dads Want Steaks package. I just thought of something, Brian. If all of your children and Swami all get you the Dads Want Steaks package, that means you will get 16, 30, 64, 80 entrees and 16 fucking caramel apple tartlets and 40 free burgers.
Oh, I'll see you in the fall.